Everybody, this is Toro. Welcome back to another video. This week we're going to be opening 3 more boxes of Hololive OCG English Blue Meridian. So let's get right into the intro. See you in a bit.
Sit there and stare or help me pick up my cards, idiot.
Alright, so let's get right into the video here. So this is just left over from some Blooming Radiance boxes that I had lying around and just kind of been sitting on them, but I thought I'd go ahead and open them. So let's get started here. Yeah, so you know what I wanted to talk about this week was really just talk about the entire tariff situation and how that's affecting you know, the way that I buy already. So essentially, I typically buy a lot from BUYEE and Mercari, and I use like the 15% off, like deals that they give off. And typically, or usually, the shipping is cheap enough for me to justify like the buying, because then I'll just resell and, you know, either make a couple bucks or you kind of make even. You know, I think it's, you know, it's all part of the game, right? So, but this week, I had, the past weekend, I have had a really bad experience with the shipping part of it, at least. So I was buying some really cheap cases. So cases like White Schwartz Dengeki, like the trial decks, and some White Schwartz Rose that I kind of want to open here on the channel. And I bought them at a pretty good deal because, you know, I thought, you know, it'd be a fun rip, and I mean, who doesn't like to see entire cases ripped open, right? So I bought them, and you know, once the shipping came by, I looked at the shipping price and I was like, okay, this is what it's expected, right? So it was, for a case, it was like maybe like 35 bucks, right, for the ECMS choice, which is like a week. You know, the shipping time is about a week. Like the DHL option, DHL, UPS, or like FedEx option was maybe like, oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, this is a huge hit. Beautiful hit. I think this is like maybe TCG player, it's maybe like 150 or 200, something like that, but cool. But yeah, anyways, back to what I was saying. So the price of the shipping was 35 bucks, and so the rest of my boxes came in, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and buy, you know, and consolidate it, because, you know, BUYEE allows you to consolidate different packages that you receive, so you only, you know, so they send it as one package. And so, you know, once all my packages came in, I went ahead and like looked at the price, and I think, you know, after everything together, it was like maybe like 122, 130, something like that, for the week-long shipping time. And so I was like, okay, you know, that's not too bad. I'm getting a good amount of stuff to rip on the channel. This will probably hold me over until Azuline 2 comes around. And so I went ahead and consolidated, thinking that maybe I would get, you know, $100 worth of, like, you know, the shipping price would be maybe $100. So, you know, I consolidated, and guess what? The shipping price was like $250, and then plus, like, if you want to add like additional like protective packaging or whatever. And so I was like, there's no way this is real. $250, like it's double the price of what the actual shipping price would be, you know, just alone. You know, but unfortunately, BUYEE, they're not very flexible in terms of, like, you know, how much they can protect you as a buyer, or like, you know, their shipping prices, or like, you know, it's kind of like a, you know, the price that you see on the screen is kind of dead set, unfortunately. But so I went ahead and reached out to customer support, and I was like, hey, like, this is what's happening to me. You know, I'm about to pay 2x the price of what I would have paid if I just shipped it out, you know, separately. And then they were able, so it took about a day, so they responded, telling me that, hey, I'm sorry, we can't do anything about it. Like, you know, if, you know, we recommend just using any shipping coupons to lower down the price. Unfortunately, like, we have, you know, they have a disclaimer saying that, hey, once it's been consolidated, then you know, we can't do anything about it. So I was like, oh my god, like, there's like, this sucks. I'm gonna have to pay 2x. Like, what do I do? Should I just leave that stuff there? There's no way I'm gonna pay more than what I paid for the packages here, just to ship it. There's no way. That's wild. So I messaged them back. I was like, hey, like, the shipping, I sent another email because I had no idea that if I replied to their original response, if they would, if it was like a no reply type of email. So I sent another like customer support request, telling them that, hey, like I sent this and that. This was the response that I was given. This is all the stuff that I bought. Like, how was I supposed to know that this was going to be 2x the amount that I was going to, it was going to pay from if I just shipped it separately? Like, how's that fair to the customer? I had a back and forth, maybe like 3-4 days with them. Oh, nice. Okay, another hit. This is like maybe $24-25. Nice. So yeah, maybe like 3-4 days of like talking back and forth. Just trying to get them to see like, hey, like there's like, just trying to get them to see that, hey, like there's no way that I would know, I wouldn't have consolidated if I knew that it was going to be this much. And then the customer support rep even replied to my email saying that, hey, there's no way to know, like if the shipping cost is going to be more after consolidation, just because like, they send it to another warehouse, or it seems to me that way that she was explaining it, they send it to another warehouse, and then they package it themselves. So so essentially I kind of argued with him for days to get them to finally take my request to to separate the items. So if anybody does get into this in the future and come with the upcoming tariffs, there is a way to unconsolidate your items, but you have to send a specific like email. They'll give you like the wordage that you just have to copy and paste back into the reply, and then they send it back to warehouse, and warehouse then then they kind of like they do their own thing and send it back. But so I got the packages. I got everything. Everything came well, and I was expecting 2 separate orders, but it turns out they just sent it in the same package. They were going to send it for $245 or $230, $245, whatever the amount was. So I just paid like the $122 that whenever they unconsolidated it or whatever, and then when I got it, it still came in the same package. So I was like, okay, well. Like what happened here? But whatever, I guess it happens. But yeah, I mean that's I'm assuming that like that's I guess just part of the game. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that experience. If anybody does use BUYEE, just be just to reiterate, just to be careful with the consolidation. Even the customer reps, there's no way, they specifically said themselves that there was no way to know if the package was going to be more expensive together than separate. So yeah, just be careful with that. So something else I wanted to talk about this week was the tariff situation. I have a suspicion that BUYEE is going to suffer pretty hard. And I'm sure they're going to start like giving out like pretty big discounts with bigger discounts and more frequently bigger discounts than what they already do, because typically they give you like a 10 to 15% discount code, maybe like once a week or every other week, something like that. But with the tariff situation going on, I'm assuming that more people are going to just opt to pay whatever the imported price is going to be already, because I'm assuming most websites or any like eBay or something like that is already going to take that into consideration. So, and especially with the way that they've been like wording their I guess the rules and regulations of what the tariff is going to cost. Because I think the way they're making it out to seem is that it's going to be an $80 like flat fee, no matter like, or I guess per package, no matter like the item worth, for a while. Yeah, I mean I'm definitely going to stop using BUYEE. There's no way that I'm going to be able to continue to afford buying the amount of items that I do now, versus or I guess compared to like what I used to buy them at, and what they're going to be worth now. I think it's going to be pretty bad, unless the market does like some weird turnaround where like including Pokemon, like Pokemon TCG and like Wise and other like niche TCGs, unless they do some type of like weird turnaround where like Japanese cards are suddenly worth like as much as English, or maybe even more, because if anybody remembers, Japanese Pokemon used to be worth way more than it is now. Same thing with like Weiss, you know. Weiss Japanese used to be worth a lot more than it is now. I mean, if that, I don't see it happening, but I mean, I guess it's a possibility that the market flips, you know, because now the rare thing, or now, you know, depending on how long this lasts, you know, Pokemon TCG or Weiss Japanese will, you know, become a little bit more rare, which will then, you know, get more people to want it, which will then, you know, mark up the price. Although, like I said, I don't think it'll happen, because I think this, you know, I think the tariff thing will hopefully boil down eventually. But if it doesn't, then, you know, places like BUYEE are in big trouble. Yeah, definitely gonna be a big problem. But yeah, I mean, like, so far, yeah, I think I've gotten pretty lucky with these 3 boxes. I think I got one of the case hits, which was the very first one. I got some really beautiful SRs. The next set is coming out October 17th, I believe. So I'm definitely gonna try to buy a case for that to rip, because I think that the SECs for that set are way better than they are in this first one, as well as the SRs. The SRs are really nice. I mean, I guess the SRs in this set are also beautiful, but in the second set, I think they're a lot better. And, you know, like I've been saying this entire time, I think that, you know, the artwork and like the foiling is so good, and the market for them the secondhand market is really strong. I think the player base is also kind of getting up there as well. So that's the plan for October. I think September I'm gonna, you know, kind of try to go through the cases that I bought, or and the other boxes that I've been trying to accumulate. Oh, cool. Okay, so another hit. So this is a UR. I think this is about like $45, something like that, $45-$50. But this is a cool artwork, a lot more colorful than the other ones, which I appreciate. But yeah, so yeah, stay tuned for a lot of case openings. It's not the most expensive stuff, but I think it's just fun to rip in quantity and get some guaranteed hit rates. But yeah, I do plan on doing some giveaways here soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's it for me, everybody. If you guys enjoyed the video, just make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And in the comments, just let me know if you are interested in seeing anything ripped, you know, We Cross or Z of X, Zillions of Enemies, I believe. That's also kind of a cool set to look into, but it's just Japanese, if anybody cares about English or not. But yeah, that's it for me, y'all. This has been Tora. I'll see y'all next week, so peace.